Today, I'm going to share with you some tips on how to easily win a Season 2 Fall Guys episode. Now, you may be thinking, Fall Guys Season 2 was released weeks ago, and although this is correct, this is not the type of video where I'm going to explain all the features of the new season and basically just read off of an update log. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to become a pro at the 4 new levels. Those 4 new levels are Night Fever, Hoopsy Legends, Egg Siege, and Wall Guys. So I'm just going to go straight into this and talk about Night Fever. Night Fever is a level you'll find in either round 1 or round 2 of your Fall Guys episode. Night Fever consists of huge log swings, swinging sides, rotating spy logs, and drawbridges. Now at the beginning, you'll find, as I said before, the swing sides. This is pretty easy as it's very similar to the whirly gig, and if you've been playing Season 1, you'll have already pretty much mastered this. But all you want to do is make sure you wait for that swing side to hit the ground, and then you want to run forward. After that, you'll find the spinning log with spikes all over it. Now this is an interesting mechanic we haven't seen in Fall Guys yet. One tip I find that helps me get past this super easily is to wait for a spike right next to you to pass. And then wait about half a second and then just start running to the end. Now you can either do this or you can wait for 2 spikes next to each other that are next to you to pass and then make a run for it in a straight line. I find the second strategy works a little bit more, but sometimes it can take a while for 2 spikes right next to each other to pass. So if you want to just take the risk, you can do the first strategy. Now, after that, this is a fairly easy part where you go on an inclined plane going downwards next to a bunch of swing sides. All you have to do is make sure you're not sliding down on the sides, and then you're completely safe. The next area is pretty easy. There's also 2 methods to mastering this. You can either just go straight for it after it's passed by you, or you can make little stops along the way at the most elevated parts of the platform. After that is the drawbridge. This is an also pretty easy thing to master. All you have to do is make sure you're running towards the drawbridge that is closed, because by the time you get to it, it'll be wide open. Another level added to Fall Guys in Season 2 is a level called Hoopsy Legends. Hoopsy Legends is a level you will most likely see in rounds 3, 4, and sometimes even 5 if your show goes on to a 6-round game. This level is extremely similar to Hoopsy Daisy. However, it's not a team game mode, it's just a solo game mode. The goal of this is to get 6 points. There are 2 ways to accomplish that. You can either get 6 white rings, or you can get 1 red ring and 1 golden ring. Now, deciding which method is key. Only decide to get 6 white rings if you have a good spawn with lots of white rings nearby and you think you can pull it off. If you don't get a great spawn, you might just want to go for 1 of each type. Going for 6 white rings is pretty self-explanatory, but there are some tips for getting 1 golden ring and 1 white ring. After you get your white ring, the best decision is to go straight for the middle. The reason this is good is because oftentimes golden rings spawn right in the middle, but if they don't, you can always look around to see other golden rings you can possibly get, because in the middle, no distance is too far away from you. Keep in mind, every single time someone gets a golden ring, a new one will spawn. So don't go for a golden ring if there's too many people near and it's too crowded, because if someone ends up getting it and it's not you, you're probably not going to be able to get the next one. So staying in the middle and waiting for the safer option is probably the best decision you could make. Egg Siege is a team game mode very similar to Egg Scramble. The concepts are the exact same. You try to get eggs and a few golden eggs in your team's area, and you try to take eggs from other teams. The only thing different is the map. They added some swing sides and some drawbridges, but those doesn't really affect the gameplay much. Although the team's bases does affect the gameplay slightly. In the Egg Siege map, there are 27 eggs and 3 golden eggs. Now, there's a few things you can do. One is attempt to grab 2 golden eggs and then maybe a couple regular eggs, or the probably better option, just try to grab 1 golden egg and then just get at least 5 other regular eggs. Both of these strategies will help you go to success, but sometimes it can be difficult to actually get a golden egg because everyone is always fighting for them. Something you can do is maybe wait until your drawbridges go up so you can just take the golden egg, jump dive, and release the golden egg to throw your golden egg over the drawbridge. And then your teammate, if there is a teammate on the other side, will probably end up putting it into your goal. If you do get it in your goal, what you're going to want to do is hold it next to a bunch of regular eggs. What this does is if other people try to grab you, then chances are they're just going to end up grabbing another regular egg by accident. Another good tip is to grief last place team, or if you're in last place, second place team, because then you can try to crawl up there. Another thing you can do is try to grief people through the little rings on the left and right. Keep in mind you can grab people through it, so it should be pretty easy to do. Wall Guys is a level where you have to get over 4 walls to get to the finish line. The way you get over those 4 walls is by moving various blocks to get across. Some major tips for Wall Guys is make sure you're timing your jumps good and slowly, because being at the back in this level can be very annoying because people tend to be at the back, and that's when you'll see the huge mob of people, and that's going to prevent you from catching up, and therefore you're probably not going to qualify. And always remember, if you need to grief someone to get yourself in front, or if you're on top of a wall and someone's about to get across, go ahead and grief them. It'll up your chances of qualifying. And although it might annoy them a little bit, it'll work out for you in the end. To get across the first wall, well, getting across the first wall is pretty easy. Usually there's already a perfect pattern that's spawned where there's one stool leading up to one small box, because you can, after jumping on the stool, you can easily jump onto the box and then up onto the wall. If not, you can just move around the stools and boxes to get across. Getting across the second wall is pretty easy too, but it's a little bit harder than getting across the first one. Sometimes, just like the first wall, it's perfectly spawned, and you can just climb onto a small box or get onto it using a stool, and then climb or dive on the wall. But if not, you just have to move a couple of boxes around. Wall 3 is where things get a little bit trickier. Once you conquer it, sometimes you can use the second wall to your advantage. What I mean by this is you can stay on the second wall and jump to it and jump onto a box from that wall. Again, a pattern might already spawn where you don't have to move anything. But sometimes if you have an unlucky map, and therefore you might have to move a few boxes to get everything in a good pattern. So you'll get onto a small box, probably a larger box, and probably one less larger box to easily jump and dive or climb across the wall. For the last wall, you want to climb onto a small box and then jump dive onto one of the slightly larger boxes until you should be able to jump dive onto one of the really big boxes. Depending on your distance from the wall, you should be able to jump dive or climb the wall. If you're a bit far from the wall, you can just climb. If you're pretty close, don't take that risk and just jump dive over it. Because remember, if you smash into something too hard, you're not going to be able to climb onto it. Well, that's the video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see more videos like this where I give you some tips on Fall Guys, just let me know down below in the comments. But other than that, I think that was pretty fun. So, bye.